welcome back to my show, Bond Archive, based on nostalgia. I'm your host, Alicia, and today we have a very special guest. She's a dear friend of mine and one of my first friends when I moved to Toronto back in 2016. Her name is Carol Liu. She is an artist, a writer, a dreamer, and on top of it all, just a very creative and philosophical human being. And it's my pleasure to invite her over to my show. Welcome in, Carol. Thank you. Lovely to have you here. Today, Carol has requested a very nostalgic element, and that is chrysanthemum tea. This is a traditional Chinese floral tea that you can drink in the daytime, nighttime, just to unwind and relax with your family and friends. This is something I believe you grew up with, and I really wanted to incorporate into today's cocktail.
It's like a very soothing floral tea, and I don't know, like it's kind of calming. It kind of makes you feel good and just like peaceful. And these like Vita drinks, I've been drinking them since I was a kid. It's like sweetened chrysanthemum tea, and it's just really, it hits.
But the person when I bought this actually told me that if you drink this consecutively for a few nights, you can actually start lucid dreaming and your dreams become more vivid. So I don't know if that's a selling point or if that's any truth to that.
That's crazy because I've actually never heard that, but I mean,
I think it might have been a marketing ploy because I'm like, I'll give it a try and let you know if I have any lucid vivid dreams.
Chinatown tactics.
Literally, they're like, here, have it. You're gonna have a blessed, holistic, spiritual life.
Love that.
So yeah, today's cocktail is called Sunny in Shanghai. Carol here was born and raised in Shanghai, so I hope this is dear to your heart. It is a spin on the classic gin and tonic with the addition of the chrysanthemum tea, because I want you to feel transported into like the meadows in Shanghai. There's no meadows. I want you to
you know what Shanghai is?
I want you to be transported to the fucking buildings of Shanghai. What we're going to be doing is making a cocktail that serves two. So if it's just one person, just half the amount of alcohol that you're using. But my recipe accounts for two people because, you know, I love to drink with my friends. So we start off with gin, good old gin. I have here Tanqueray. This is dry gin, and dry gin works really well with like floral teas and for gin and tonic. Because we have triple sec, which is an orange liqueur, and the incorporation of this is just gonna help have more of like that fruity note, since this is a floral gin and tonic. So I'm gonna put 2 shots of this. If you have the ready-made juice, the chrysanthemum tea, is it a drink? Yeah, a tea drink. This already has like sugars in it. I kind of want to give it a little sippy sip before I put it in. What kind of vibe?
It's really good.
Really good? Oh, that's perfect. So the chrysanthemum drink.
Let's put like 3 shots of this.
There we go. So once that is done, what we're gonna do is shake with ice. Bless you. One thing about Carol, she sneezes 5 times in a row. I don't know, maybe you're just like allergic to something.
I am allergic to something.
Like just life?
Yes. I think I'm allergic to a lot of things, but in a nutshell.
Every time I see you, you sneeze at least 7 times. Like every single time. I'm like, bitch, I cleaned the house for you. Like, what else do you want me to do?
I'm a good, you know, like dust sensor.
Yeah.
1 minute of pure shaking.
Yeah, literally. Is take out the top, and then we pour it through. And we leave a little room for the tonic on top, because you can't shake it with tonic. It's gonna be a little crazy. Every single time. There is always gonna be a shriek in every episode. So here's the tonic. We just top it up. Top it up. And a little garnish situation. Slow-mo corner situation.
Oh.
Very on brand.
Super.
A little stir. You don't want to just have a fresh sip of tonic. So just give her a little stir. I'm very, very curious to hear how you think of
And
this.
this is a new invention by
Yeah.
Alicia, so
Cheers!
cheers! Ooh.
Wow. It's
really
boozy too.
It is boozy.
That's really yummy.
Very floral.
Very floral.
The chrysanthemum is kind of like mild.
It's just giving like a little bit of sweetness because we didn't put agave or anything because that ready-made drink had a lot of sugar already.
Mhm.
So it was such a good balance.
Yeah, it's like syrupy.
Yeah, and I think the triple sec really helps elevate that like fruity orange flavor.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Oh, we should do
chrysanthemum
a
tea.
little like prayer. Like,
Oh, yeah,
we should have, like a little
manifestation.
ritual.
Yeah. We did this last night. It was like a mini prayer ritual before we went to bed, and honestly, it knocked us out.
We literally like said our prayer, and then once it finished, we both just went silent and like slowly fell asleep.
We didn't utter a word.
And we were just like, thank you, and then we're just like sunk. Like I was in my head, I was like, I wanted to say like this is so funny that we're gonna pass out, but then I was like, I don't want to ruin the moment. Let's just pass out. And I actually was so tired I couldn't even speak.
Yeah.
Fade away.
Fade into darkness.
Okay. Let's
Okay, so let's do a ritual.
Mhm.
Cheers to a lot of new beginnings, you know?
beginning.
My show, LA.
LA.
And also staying in tune with ourselves, showcasing. We're like, bye. Never speaking to her again. Also, always expressing gratitude. I feel like we always get really caught up in our daily issues or some sort of scenario that happens, and it takes away from so much that's already that we've accomplished, that we're doing, that we're working towards. So staying grateful and also always keeping each other
in check.
in check.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotta check you, bitch.
No, you gotta keep me all.
Gotta keep you in check.
I'll keep you in check
You
too.
do. She does.
So yeah.
Cheers
Cheers to
to
that.
that.
Cheers to being friends for fucking 7 years.
Oh. Cheers for the 7-year friendship.
Done.
No, wait.
7
It's been
years.
more.
2016. It's 2023.
Oh shit.
You know they say if you're friends with somebody for 7 years, you're friends with them for a lifetime. So cheers to being friends for a lifetime. Yeah. There was an era where all we did was gin shots, so
That was not a good era.
that was COVID.
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out Khalifa. He's the OG gin and tonic boy. Like he used to put oranges and cucumber. What is the top thing that is exciting you about LA? And then what is the top thing that's concerning you about LA?
Good question. Top thing that's exciting me is I feel like everyone that I've met like before in LA was so inspiring because they're just so like full of like creative, like they're dreamers, you know, which is like kind of cheesy to say because I feel like a lot of people are really cynical, and even me, I was really cynical. I'm like, you think you're gonna just pull up to LA and you're gonna like be a creative? Like that is everyone. It's so impossible.
Everyone there has some dream that they want to chase,
Right.
and establish.
Which is what I love, and which is what made me actually fall in love with the city. And I didn't really think I would like it, but I was like, yo, everyone here is like actually genuinely super excited about what they're doing, and
And what's one thing that's concerning you?
probably the driving.
Oh,
Like-
shoot, LA traffic.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about traffic. It's just that I don't like driving, and I'm not the best driver, so it's like
yeah, no,
I'm a bit worried.
You're a pretty decent driver. Don't like sell yourself short. You're really good. It's just like I think there's a lot of anxiety that comes around driving,
Yeah,
which makes you question yourself. But I know you can get from point A to point B with no issues. So just remember that.
most of the time. Yeah.
How are the men in LA? Why? You look like you were about to fucking vomit.
No, I'm just like, why that question? That's like the one question I don't want to fucking answer. I don't know yet.
Okay, good answer.
Diplomatic. I don't know. I haven't moved there yet. I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully they're cool. Hopefully they're better than the men in Toronto.
No, a lot of shade.
A lot of shade.
I'll sprinkle the shade for you.
It's like, it's a love-hate relationship.
My perspective is LA is gonna be like Toronto men on adrenaline though. Because it's like there's too many options in LA. Everyone is trying to be something. The physical image is so far from reality. Like everybody wants BBL, they want to look like Kim K, and it's just like
in Toronto too though.
100%, but I think LA is maxed out in that kind of energy.
Yeah, I feel you. I think like people have a very different conception of like LA culture, because I had that too and I was very like ew.
Same.
And then when I went, I was like, wow, like it's actually different than what I expected. And I hope it continues to be that way, because I would be really disappointed if it's like that kind of energy where it's like kind of like you gotta have, I mean, I've heard that a lot, like you gotta have like 10 surgeries to feel like you can even fit in, which is like really not the vibe.
I also feel like it is a perception thing, because there are so many social circles. If you choose to be in a circle that is very into how they look and how they are perceived online, and kind of like the influencer sort of circle, you're going to get into these like weird insecurities and anxieties around social image. But I think if you are going towards like more of the artistic, you know, creative circle, you can pick your niche, you can pick the kind of people that you resonate with, right? Right?
Yeah.
And like be very, very, very selective.
Yeah.
Because babe, your circle is important. And
your circle is important.
Your circle is important. If you surround yourself with people
put on a billboard.
Yeah, you have to surround yourself with people that motivate you, make you feel special.
And I think most importantly, you have to surround yourself with people who are good for you. Do they genuinely care about you? Are they a genuine person? Are they a good person? Like that is the most important thing about like having their influence in your life. Because even if they're like super inspirational and like successful or whatever, it's like, doesn't matter if they're not gonna like be your person. Like they're not gonna look out for you and like take care of you. Like I think the worst thing to have is a friend who doesn't like feel like they actually have your back. You don't think they can see you in every aspect of yourself. Like you've seen me in my best and my worst, you know. It's like there was times where I was like, I can't like see people because I'm just like not that version of myself where I'm like so like outgoing and like happy and I think they'll judge me or whatever, and that's shitty, you know?
It is. And I think that is the beauty of having friends that love you unconditionally, you know? Because I think it comes down to a lot of personality traits too. Like for me, I feel like I don't want to be in a social setting when I'm not feeling my best, because I know I'm giving subpar version of Alicia to people, and I think that's reducing whatever connections or opportunities I could have, and I'd rather take that day to just like unwind, be by myself, and then when I feel like I'm ready, then I'm gonna go. Like
it's like, yeah, of course, like I don't think when I'm depressed I should like go to a party and like be able to, everyone should just like fucking like be around me like, are you okay? But it's more like I feel like my real friends, I should be able to call them on a day like that and they're not doing well and they will drop. Like I've called my friends, like I've called you, I've called like Donna, I've called Nick, like when you guys are like out, like, you know, my friends will be like out at a party and then I call them and they pick up and they'll be like, I'm at a party, but like, what's wrong? Are you okay?
Like we'll literally go outside and just debrief and
literally
see like, if you're okay.
And then the difference is there's people who'll be like, hey, I'm at a party, so it's not a good time.
You're going there in your later 20s now, right? You're gonna be like your
mid-20s, girl, I'm 25.
Okay, so but like when you're there, you're gonna be like 26. You're literally gonna be 26 when you get there.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna be 25 when I get there, and then in 2
this
months,
year you're turning 25.
I'll turn 26 in 2 months.
Bitch, that's literally what I mean.
Okay, whatever.
You're turning 26.
Doesn't matter.
You're in later 20s. Little auntie over here.
Ageism. Ageism. I've always been old. Like I've always felt old. Like in our friend group, I've always been the grandma. So it's like I'm so used to this. I'm not scared of being old. It's more just like funny. It's like, dude, like late 20s. But yeah. Like the craziest trajectory of my life was probably like 17 to like 20. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it's like,
y'all don't know her in high school.
Yo, like, I was just a different person. Like, I feel like every year.
She had extensions, lashes. She was a little baddie. honestly, I've seen you grow into being more like sophisticated. Because I see even like your fashion sense, it's turned very like
Comfy.
minimal but elegant.
Aww.
The last art piece you had blew me away.
Really?
Yeah, honestly it did. I know I heard about it as you were doing it, but Jocelyn and Ophelia, just like having that be comparative through art was just so beautiful and, you know, philosophical. I felt what you were feeling. Your caption killed me. I'm gonna put it up here because I was like, girly pop, she knows. You just have a way of taking things from the media, taking things from your own interests and art history, putting it together to create something that is relevant and important to a lot of people. And, you know, I think it really evokes emotion.
Aww,
Yeah,
thank you.
it really does. You see it and you can see the distraughtness in Jocelyn's face, and I'm like, Ophelia felt that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I felt that, you felt that, we all felt
Exactly,
that,
we
you
all
know?
felt that.
So I feel like your art always seems to transcend like culture, history, art. So I wonder, how do you find the concepts for your next art project?
Usually I get the idea just like based off of an emotion that I'm feeling at the time, or like something I'm going through, like something very personal, and then I just kind of like, I feel like my art is therapeutic to me. So it's like when I go through the process of creating and like thinking about it and like painting, it's like I research that topic. So it's like that, like the Ophelia Jocelyn piece, I was like thinking about, you know, like female rage and like betrayal and like just that like despair almost, you know. And that's a topic that it's interesting because I was like, whoa, like, you know, Jocelyn on The Idol, I mean, that's different. It was like kind of like manipulation. It was about manipulation and about like toxicity and all that, which is another thing that I was thinking about at the time. And then I was thinking about Ophelia, who's kind of like one of the characters in like history who was so like famous for being betrayed and for kind of like being like almost like a martyr because she like died, but out of her just like feeling like the world was so toxic in a way.
She was consumed by like her memories and like just the way she was being treated. And I think that, you know, even with Jocelyn and The Idol, it was such an interesting depiction of the control men have over women in terms of self-belief. She was one of the biggest idols, and she really, even though she felt that energy, she was questioning herself often because she felt dependent on this man.
Yeah.
She felt like this man was the one that was bringing her out of her darkness.
Right.
But she had the power to do so herself. He was just a tool in the process.
Yeah.
But she put so much importance and power to
What he thought.
yeah.
Literally.
What he thought.
And I think like it's funny because both of these such famous like female characters were created by men.
Yeah, fair.
You know, so it's like obviously you see that like kind of twist.
Yeah.
It's
do
not
feel-
like a full dimensional character.
I do feel though like it's quite reflective to society right now. Girls get the perception of how to be through media, right?
Right.
So I see this mirrored in a lot of younger women who are just like trying to figure out who they like, but they place a lot of importance in being liked. Place that importance on the person that's going to make them feel special, make them feel some type of way.
Yeah.
And they get dependent on that.
Yeah.
So when that's taken away from them, they feel like
It's
the
like
world's
ruined.
crashing down.
Yeah. It's like external validation.
It's external validation.
Like you feel like that's everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I think with the Ophelia Jocelyn kind of like comparison, it's like you have kind of like in patriarchy you have two routes. Either you become the good girl, the sweet, innocent good girl who did everything right and you're pure-hearted, but you get hurt and you eventually die. So you're like a martyr. Or you're like Jocelyn, who's like, you're like a baddie and you like, you know how to like play men back because that's what happens to us. So it's like you're kind of just
No, that's true.
responding, but then you're the villain. So it's either you're the martyr or you're the villain.
Damn.
And I just feel like that really hit hard for me.
I wonder if these concepts of love, dependency is a cultural thing, or if it's something that's just shown by media. You know, like I genuinely believe my love is not in Toronto. Like I genuinely believe.
Me too. I agree.
Like I've lived here for 7 years and I've experimented, I've seen what I wanted to see, but like I just feel like the mentality, the ideology, the way I was raised, just everything, it feels like a movie, you know, like I'm here, entertainment, having fun, but when it comes to deeper connections to the opposite sex, maybe I'm not looking in the right places, fair enough, but I just feel like there's such a huge notion of FOMO or something, you know, where like people feel like there's so many opportunities, so many options.
Yeah.
It's a very highly distractive city. I don't know if you feel that too, but it's hard to settle down in a city that's moving at the speed of light.
Wow, quote.
Yeah, that is a good quote.
That's a good quote. I agree, but I think my perception is that love is such a like cultural thing anyways, like your perception of love, what you think it is and what you think it should be, what it should look like. So I feel like obviously the Western and the Eastern perspective on love is so different. Like I feel like the Eastern perspective is very much rooted in like acts of service and like commitment and like a long-term being there for each other and like just kind of living your life, even if that means mundane, like day to day. You have this higher sense of purpose. It's like, this is for my family, this is for later generations, this is for older generations, like this is for everyone. Let's say Toronto, like I don't want to say that I'll never meet someone I find interesting in Toronto because I feel like that closes the door, but it's like the way you connect with people. Like I think when I was in Montreal, I was in a different state of mind. I was like, I can like really figure out who I am and find people who are the same as me.
Yeah.
And in Toronto, I was kind of like meeting a lot of people who weren't really into the same things as me or didn't think the same way as me. So it's like, obviously we're not gonna make a good connection because we're just different.
You're not compatible.
Yeah.
And if you're not compatible, you gotta I feel like, you know, a lot of people waste a lot of time because they're just trying to like make things work and see it through. But honestly, I would say trust your gut instinct. If you don't feel some type of way, you don't feel an attraction, you don't feel emotional connection, move on. I mean, with that being said, I think it's important to experience this with optimism, to stay hopeful, because I think as soon as you get cynical about things, you shut yourself from so many opportunities.
You gotta approach it with like a, this is gonna work out, I believe in it, I believe in myself kind of mindset. And I think also like learning, just knowing yourself and learning about yourself is so important, which is why like when you said spending time on your own, like I think I resonate with that because like spending time with myself was really what like pushed that all of this into motion. Because if I hadn't spent time with myself, I wouldn't even known who I really am, and that's just kind of like.
Well, I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. I have one more week left with you, which is very tragic. So I was like, I have to have you on. And you introduced such an interesting ingredient. I don't know, honestly.
Like this cocktail is like funny because it's like getting us lit, but also like calm.
Yeah, like I feel like very zen. I was just saying, you know, like usually we're all here like hi, like, but I'm just like very content and happy. Cheers to sunny in Shanghai. Cheers.
You know what cheers is in Chinese?
No.
Ganbei.
Ganbei.
Yeah, it's like kanpai in Japanese.
Oh.
Ganbei in Chinese.
So they go ganbei.
Ganbei.
That's a fire cocktail.
No, it's so chrysanthemum-y, I love it.
Yeah.